Yo, what is up guys, Zolrain here with a Regulation I video. Yes, this is a VGC video. We are still doing Pokemon Auto Chess, but we are coming back to doing VGC videos because a new regulation actually has started. And now that it's an actual new regulation, I would love to be able to make some videos for VGC as I still really do enjoy playing it. Today I am bringing you one of my own teams, which we might be seeing most of the time. And this one is centered around Zacian and Terapagos, mainly Terapagos, and I'm gonna explain why real quick. I really think people are sleeping on Sneasel Terapagos because Sneasel Terapagos feels like a really strong lead, especially in best of ones, because Sneasel has two advantages over Rillaboom and Incineroar. Blech. And the reason being is that one, it can take both of them down thanks to close combat and Direct Claw being super effective against both of them. So Incineroar does not like close combats and Rillaboom do not like Direct Claw. So that's one thing. It's also the faster fake out user out of the three, and which is where the plan comes into play with this lead. As you can see, this Terapagos has Cover Cloak and Sneasel has the Focus Sash with Unburden ability. Now, if you don't know what Unburden does is that it will double its speed once its item gets taken off, or it uses it, consumes it in any way, being that speed bonus. So the idea here is that you are the faster fake out of those other two that I mentioned. So what you do is you would fake out the Incineroar Rillaboom's ally, and you allow them to fake out your Terapagos because it's not going to matter. You have Cover Cloak, and then you get a Calm Mind +1 boost, and then the next turn you could just Terra and just not care anymore, right? That is the idea behind this, and this is why I really think this lead is really strong. I think in this video I only get it maybe once I do that lead, and it was because I was still getting used to the team myself, so I was still kind of scared of bringing this lead in. And it wasn't until much more practice that I started getting more brave, even into leads that I thought weren't going to be good, where I end up bringing Terapagos and Sneasel. But I don't know if it's in this video, but it is a really good lead, and I think people are sleeping on it. The rest of this team is very self-explanatory. Rillaboom is just here for another pivot for fake out. You could pivot between Sneasel and Rillaboom for fake outs, and Roaring Moon here is just for Tailwind. You got boosted energy speed, and you got Breaking Swipe to just lower those attacks. You got Chandelier just as a way to resist, be immune to those fighting type moves that Terapagos doesn't like. Same thing with Zacian, actually. It's got Flash Fire, so Zacian is actually nice and safe fire moves thanks to it. If you think there's a lot of fire moves, you can bring in Chandelier to deal with that. It's also really good into like Shadow Rider, stuff like that, to deal with it. So Chandelier is actually very versatile in this team. So I actually really like this team. It's a very fun team. If you guys want to try it out, go ahead. The rental is gonna be in the description. It's also up there at the top right corner, and the Pokébase will also be in the description below. But with that said, guys, let's go straight into the battles, and you'll get to see how this team works. All right, let's go. All right, guys, so here we go. Here's the first battle of the video. Now, I actually lead my Chandelier and my Roaring Moon. You could barely see my Chandelier thanks to the Roaring Moon being so damn big with those wings. But he leads his Chi-Yu and his Indeedee. I'm pretty sure that was Chi-Yu. I can't even see it. But yeah, he leads the Chi-Yu and the Indeedee. I'm pretty sure it was Chi-Yu, right? I'm not going crazy. Yeah, it was. So here I decide, you know what? Well, what are we looking at here? Because Chi-Yu can't really go for a Heat Wave thanks to the Flash Fire. Actually, I think I kind of forgot about that in this scenario. But I'm like thinking, what can I do here? What can I go for? I could go for Trick, but what if it already has Choice Scarf? That's not gonna do much if it already has a Choice Scarf. So I'm over here thinking maybe I should just switch. Might be the better idea here. Just get the turtle start doing its thing that it needs to be doing. So I go ahead and I just switch the dude into the Terapagos to try and see if I can start setting up a Calm Mind. Now, for my Roaring Moon, I was considering Tailwind, but because there was a Indeedee on the field, I was kind of scared of doing Tailwind because they could end up going for a Trick Room, but it actually doesn't go for Trick Room. Instead, we do get the Snarl, but here I actually freaked out a little because I thought, oh no, Snarl. That's actually scary. I was for some reason I was expecting a Heat Wave, even though, like I said, I was Flash Fire, but I completely forgot for some dumb reason. But I'm like, okay, Snarl. And just like how I forgot I was Flash Fire, I forgot I was Cover Cloak, so Snarl actually doesn't do anything here for him, which was actually fantastic because, like I said, this lets me set up those Calm Minds now. Because I am not really in any fear with those Snarls. Those Snarls aren't going to be doing much. And I could just get the Calm Mind going. And I also have the speed control. Now, it is still pretty scary though, because like I said, Indeedee could end up going for Trick Room at any moment, which would be a really good play on his part, because then he would have the speed control and that could put me in a pretty bad spot, at least for a few turns before my Tailwind runs out, and then he'd be in a bad spot. Because then that means my Terapagos would be the fastest thing. But I go ahead and I just go for a Terra here, just because I wanted more bulk. Since if you guys don't know, for those that are watching that are new to VGC, Terapagos gains more base HP. I think it gets stats all around, but it does get a massive boost to its HP, which is what I was kind of like looking for. And I just go for a knockoff on the Indeedee, which reveals that it's actually holding the Rocky Helmet, which was something I wasn't expecting. Most Indeedees don't run that. It usually runs either Sash. No, actually no, sometimes they do run Rocky Helmet, so it's actually not that surprising. But yeah, like as you can see, I went for the Terra just so I can have more bulk while I still go for more Calm Minds. Because what is this Chi-Yu going to do to me while it's stuck on Snarl? Because we can confirm it's Scarf, which is, like I said, we didn't need to trick it because it most likely had it. And now here comes the big boy himself, his Koraidon. And I'm just here like, okay, that's not a big deal. Doesn't really bother me. Because like I said, I am in Tailwind, so I can go for a Breaking Swipe. If he doesn't Terra, then he takes super effective damage from that Breaking Swipe. And if he does Terra, then Terra Starstorm will be doing super effective damage anyway. So he's kind of pinned here because we are, like I said, we are under our Tailwind. So we go ahead, we just go for a Terra Starstorm, and he just gives us both his Mons for free. Like, he was too scared to switch out his Chi-Yu. Because at this point, like I said, this is also why Cover Cloak is so popular on Terapagos as well. Is because Snarl is one way to deal with Terapagos, especially because they like to Calm Mind so much. So if you're able to just neuter its special attack, then it doesn't really do much. So that was fun for me. I just go for Terra Starstorm because what's he gonna do? He only has Lunala left, and with Lunala there, he either attacks or he wide guards, and it just lets the dude take him down. So yeah, that is game number 1. Alright, so here is the lead that they go with. They go Fluttermane and Koraidon in game number 2 versus my Terapagos and Sneasel lead, which I think is actually a really strong lead. And even in this situation, because I end up noticing in this game in particular that Fluttermane and Koraidon is actually really strong into my team. Like, it's a very powerful lead into my team. I ended up getting really scared because I didn't really have any switch-ins into it, like, to deal with this. So I'm over here thinking, oh, what do I do? Because I at least have Fake Out pressure turn 1, so I can at least, fake out and try to get a better positioning. And like I said, looking at my team, Roaring Moon doesn't want to deal with the Collision Course close combat. Zacian doesn't want to deal with the Flare Blitz. Terapagos doesn't want to deal with the close combat. So it's actually a very tough spot for me. And it's something that I ended up realizing with this team, that this team is very weak. The Koraidon Fluttermane lead specifically. So I go ahead and I just decide, you know what, I'm just gonna have to switch into Zacian. I don't want my little dude to just get taken out. And I switch in my Zacian because I can go, like I said, I can go for a Fake Out here. So I can safely get my dude in. And he does go for the Protect, knowing that I was probably going to Fake Out that slot. And sadly, right here, I'm thinking, okay, well, if the Fluttermane goes for me, this was perfect. But it ends up going for Icy Wind. I was actually hoping Sneasel would end up getting taken to Sash just so I could be faster than it. But we do get at least a fortunate miss, which does mean my sash is intact at least. And I'm thinking here, well, what do I do? I'm just gonna have to protect here because I need to figure something out to deal with this Koraidon. So I protected here mainly to see if I can scout a Terra. Because remember, Zacian is actually still faster than the Koraidon. So a play rough is still threatening it. So that's why he went for the Terra here. And I just protected just to bait that out and see if he did Terra. Because if I go for a play rough and he Terra fires, well, I'm just in a very bad spot, right? So he does indeed go for the Flare Blitz into my Zacian, thankfully. I do get at least some damage onto this Koraidon because I really need to get rid of the Koraidon somehow. What's funny though is that I don't know why he Terra'd when I think about it. Because he did get an Icy Wind off on the Zacian, which slowed it down. And that means that I can't, I can't go first anymore. So he technically was in a safe position. But I guess he was just fearing that I might Terra with Zacian, which might be Terra Water. Because I think most Zacians are Terra Water. Mine is Terra Normal just to deal with the Shadow Riders. So he goes ahead and goes for Flare Blitz. Doesn't get it. And I'm thinking, well, I need to switch out again. I need to figure this out. He'll probably go for Flare Blitz again. So my idea here is, okay, what I could do is I could switch out into Terapagos on the Sneasel slot, expecting a Shadow Ball because there's no reason to go for a... I guess he could still go for a Moonblast though. I don't see why not. His play should have been to go for a Moonblast in this situation because it covers any swap outs, especially if I ended up going into Roaring Moon on that slot. But I went ahead and double swap out into my Roaring Moon and into my Terapagos, expecting a Flare Blitz into the Zacian slot and a Shadow Ball into the Terapagos. So as I predicted, he does go for the Shadow Ball, which I'm completely immune to. And then he does go for the Flare Blitz, which actually almost one-shots my Roaring Moon, which I thought, oh, sweet. And there's the unfortunate thing. I get burned, which was actually kind of rough. Because I could at least get my Tailwind going, which was what I was really banking on, but it's okay. I mean, RNG, I did get the poison on the Koraidon, which did help take it out, thanks to the poison tick. So there you go. I end up losing my Roaring Moon as well, which, like I said, is completely fine. It's not a big deal. We actually don't mind the free switching into the Sneasel because now we got fake out pressure again. And he does go into his Stone Ogre Pond. Now, like I said, I'm still not out. This is still very scary matchup. But now that Koraidon is gone, I am a little bit more free on my Zacian, which is really nice. So here I'm thinking, what do I do? I should be able to just Calm Mind. And he should go for a spiky shield because he doesn't want to take the fake out, and that would also just deal some damage to me. So I go for the aggressive read here, and he doesn't actually go for the spiky shield, which is okay. Like I said, I have my Shell Stell, my ability on my Terapagos, so I'm not gonna be taking too much damage. But as you can see, Ogre Pond is actually it's actually a pretty monster. I mean, that looks like it didn't do a lot, but that's through the Terra Shell. So in my eyes, that actually looked like a lot. So thankfully it's fine though, because we're not even terraformed, so we will get a lot more HP. So now it's just up to Terapagos and Zacian versus 3 Pokemon, which isn't bad because, like I said, Zacian now has its speed back, its speed reset, so it's back to being the fastest thing on the board as long as the sun isn't up. So I go for a double protect because this turn the sun should be going down, giving my Zacian the ability to outspeed this Flutterman. Man. So I go for the double protect, looking good. No more having to worry about this thing. He goes for a Shadow Ball, which I started thinking, this thing might not have Moonblast for some weird reason. It might have Thunder Wave actually, so it might be like Icy Wind, Thunder Wave, Shadow Ball, Protect. That might be its setup. I don't know what its setup was. All I saw was Shadow Ball that whole game. So Dazzling Gleam could have been something else, and that could have completely changed the game. So I go ahead and just Terra Starstorm, and I go for a substitute because I think in this situation, I think that he's going to protect his Ogre or at least his like, I think he's gonna need to protect one or the other. So I felt like substitute is safe here. He can't get a KO on my turtle, so I should be fine to just go for a Terra Starstorm and then just go for a substitute to keep my station safe and also be able to maybe stay alive. But he actually does opt for a Shadow Ball on my station. So at this point, I don't think this thing has any fairy moves for some reason, which works for me. I mean, if he did have fairy moves, I think this game would have been a lot tougher. But like you can see that now that we Terra the turtle can actually take hits much more comfortably. So we go for a Terra Starstorm, we get them both low, and we just keep going for it. We just keep going for the Terra Starstorms, and now we can go for Behemoth's Bash Blade on the Fluttermane because the sun is no longer up, meaning that we are faster than Fluttermane, thanks to Zacian just being naturally faster. And we do have enough EVs into speed to make sure that we outspeed everything in the 135 tier. I think even 136 because Iron Bundle is 136. So we go ahead and get another Terra Starstorm off, and then we pick up the KO on the Ogerpon. So there you go. Now it's Fluttermane, Ogerpon, and Miraidon gone. I think he only has one Pokemon left. What was the last Pokemon again? I don't remember. Yeah, it was Miraidon. And with that said, now that Miraidon's the last thing that he has, there's really not much else he can do. He has to deal with both Terapagos and he has to deal with the Zacian. So unless he's Terra Electric, I think he already Terra does, so he can't even Terra. Unless he goes for Discharge, he's not winning this game. And we go for a Play Rough, and then we'll go for a Terra Starstorm, and it ends up just cleaning up the game for another victory with the turtle. Like I said, this turtle is very, very good. This and the Sneaker combo, Sneaker Terapagos combo coming in really clutch, letting me be able to position really well. And the poison actually came in really clutch as well. But alright, with that win, let's go on to the next one. Alright guys, so here's the game 3, and we are up against a Whimsicott Miraidon lead versus our Zacian and Rillaboom lead. Now, Whimsicott Miraidon is actually very, very scary because they're usually always choice specs. Thanks to Rillaboom, this is why we have a Rillaboom, is so we can actually deal with Miraidon very well. Now, Whimsicott is actually very, very scary. So I go, I'm not even gonna play around. I'm just going for a quick fake out into a Behemoth Bash. I keep saying Bash because it's Zamazenta Blade into the Whimsicott because I want to get rid of this thing ASAP. This thing needs to go now, like today. It needs to just disappear from existence. I'm over here thinking that he's going to Terra his Miraidon because I could just, double in on it and take it out with a Play Rough plus fake out. So I'm over here thinking he should just Terastalize. And that is the plan. That is the idea. So that's why I'm just going for Whimsicott and hope that he Terras. So that way, if anything, at least then, if it Terras into Fairy, then Behemoth's Blade becomes threatening against it. If it doesn't, then Play Rough. Wait, and then he goes into Urshifu, and I was just like super confused. Like, why Urshifu? If I went for a Play Rough in that slot, he would have lost his Urshifu. So I was really, really confused there. Because if that thing was Sash, now it lost its Sash. It's whatever. I think it was the Sashmon too, because Whimsicott ended up going down, meaning he probably thought I was just gonna maybe fake out the Whimsicott. I don't know what he's thinking. But in that situation, it works out because I'd rather get rid of the Whimsicott because it can run so many different things. It can run Encore, it can run Endeavor. If it's Sash Endeavor, then it'll be really, really scary. But we do have priorities, so Versatile would finish it off. But anyways, doesn't really matter anymore. Got rid of the Whimsicott, and this should confirm that the Urshifu is sashed. At the very least, I think it is. It can't be. I don't think it's scarfed because Tailwind is what outspeeding, so we'll never know if it's scarfed or not. But I just assume it's sashed just because Whimsicott didn't have it. So I go for a Protect just to see if I can bait a Terra. Like I said, I want to try and get this into Terra. But he goes for a Detect on the Urshifu. Probably expecting me to go for a Grass move on the Urshifu, which makes a lot of sense. We do see Detect, so I know Choice Scarf isn't a thing that's possible for it, since if you're running Choice Scarf, you're not going to be running that. And then I just go for a U-turn into the Miraidon because I just want to get my Rillaboom out so I can reset the terrain. But even if I didn't have the terrain, I do have also Terapagos. I mean, even if I didn't have Rillaboom, I have Terapagos to take away his electric terrain, so it's not that big of a deal. I decided to go into Sneasel because that just gives me another fake out option again. And so I just fake out and go for a Play Rough on the Urshifu because we know that it detected. Which is, I think, the correct play here because this kind of pins it down. Like, he has to Terra something. And his restricted should be the thing that he should be worried the most about here. Because it's all his damage, but yeah, I just go for the fake out, nothing too difficult here, and then I just go for the Urshifu. It is under Tailwind though, so I have to be worried about that. He does switch it out yet again into his Chi-Yu this time. And then I think he Terras his Urshifu here. No, he actually just lets it go. He just lets me have it too. And he actually goes for the Sneasel slot in this spot, which is alright because now I don't have Sash, right? And he tries to take out the Sneasel, which again, I'm completely fine with. That doesn't really bother me. Because now I just get a Play Rough onto his Urshifu. Because like I said, he's trying to keep his Miraidon safe, which is the correct play. He definitely needs to be trying to get that Miraidon in a safe position. And now I decide, you know what? Let's go into Terapagos here. Because if he goes back to Miraidon, well, he has to go into Miraidon now. And now his terrain is locked in, meaning I can switch Rillaboom in if I really want to. And I'll be fine with that because then I'll get my Grass terrain, or I could just Terra here and go for a Calm Mind and be fine with that as well. So now he has to work. Now he has to do a Terra, because if he doesn't Terra, I can just take away his Miraidon, right? So I think I go for a double protect here because I'm just trying to get rid of the Miraidon. Like, well, I'm not trying to get rid of the Miraidon. I mean, I'm trying to bait Miraidon's Terra. That's why I'm double protecting. So we go for the double protect here, and his fish is. Honestly, I should be pretty worried in this situation because like Zacian is in kind of danger. Yeah, there's an overheat. I do have to worry about that. But remember, we do have Substitute. That is something we do have. And he actually ends up going for Electro Drift on the turtle, which is fine. Now the Tailwind is gone. That is also why I double protected, I think. I knew the Tailwind was about to run out. And I'm like, do I switch on into Rillaboom here? Or do I just Calm Mind? A Calm Mind might be okay here. I don't know if it was too risky. Because like they have to go for the Zacian, right? So I do end up switching out the Rillaboom though. And, you know, getting rid of his terrain. And then I just go for a Calm Mind. Which makes Miraidon hit less. You know, it's not going to be as powerful without its terrain, the special attack boost that it gets, and also its electric moves won't get boosted. All those multipliers are just gone now. And now we have the terrain locked down. But one thing that we need to remember is that because Terapagos' ability when he Terras takes away terrain, we won't have Grassy Glide priority anymore, which is completely fine. But he ends up actually going for an overheat on the turtle, which is very scary. Because it actually does almost half my health. And that's actually very, very scary. And he goes for an Electric Drift and doubles it onto the Terapagos, which was a really good play on his part. And it does end up KOing my Terapagos. So in that situation, I probably should have Terra'd, which was unfortunate. But now he has a -2 Chi-Yu, which is actually kind of nice, right? His Chi-Yu shouldn't be doing as much damage anymore. So since we didn't Terra, we now have a free Terra on either Zacian or Rillaboom. And I'm thinking here we should just substitute, because if he goes for an overheat again, he'll be -4, and then we can just like ignore the Chi-Yu and just take it out later. So I'm thinking either I substitute or I play rough, because like I said, if I take out Miraidon, we most likely just win. Like, I don't think a -6 Chi-Yu can take out a Rillaboom, let alone Zacian, on its own, right? And if I Terra normal, I won't have to worry about it either, like taking out my Zacian in one go. And then the Zacian could just take out the Chi-Yu right after. So that's kind of like all my possible solutions to this problem that I have. So I do go for the substitute play here, just because if he goes for overheat again, now that we know it's overheat, I think it's scarfed. I think it's locked into scarf too. So the fake out here is actually very, very useful. And this turn actually could have gone really wrong, because if I went and fake out this fish instead and he terra'd the fish and then overheated my Zacian, that actually could have gone really, really bad. Because then I was playing confident in that he wasn't gonna go for the overheat on my Zacian, right? So yeah, I got the substitute off. He did go for the overheat on the Rillaboom. But in hindsight, I actually did play these last few turns really bad. If he overheated, he was scarfed. If the overheat went into the Zacian, that could have been really bad for me. Not terastallizing. I didn't have a reason to hold at all. But he goes for another overheat, and now he's at -6, which is completely fine. He does take out the substitute. Even at -4, I mean, it's still super effective, and we're under the Beads of Ruin. So I was able to still take out the substitute, which is completely fine, because that's all we really needed. We just needed to be able to take the -2. But looking back, this was definitely a sloppy endgame for me, because like I said, he could have just overheated and I could have been in a lot of trouble, because then Zacian goes down, we knew it was scarfed, we knew the Chi-Yu was scarfed, and then Rillaboom wouldn't have been able to take out the both mons, right? I could have lost my Zacian on the spot and he still would have had Miraidon. So this was a really sloppy endgame, and I definitely should have played it better. That's something that I should have done. And with that, that's it. That's the end of the game. And with that, let's talk a little bit about the theme before we go. Alright guys, so that's gonna be the end of the video. Hope you guys enjoyed the battles that I ended up getting. Honestly, like I said, this team is really, really cool. I really did enjoy playing it. There's going to be another couple teams that are going to be mine that I'm going to be posting on this channel. So if you guys are excited to see more teams that I make, feel free to just subscribe and follow. I'm going to be making VGC content again. I've been wanting to again. And I'm just glad that we're now in a different regulation. But yeah, the team is really fun. And I don't really have much to say else other than if you guys want to try out the rental. Like I said, the Pokepaste and the rental will be in the description below. And yeah, let me know if you guys end up trying out the team and see how it performs for you guys. With that said, guys, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace!